And when I say I feel or I view, it is taking into account our sacrament, it is taking into account the Bible and our life, everything together. Three things that I would like to leave with you. And in places where I have been called or I have been asked to share a devotion during the marriage service, I usually share this. This is what I feel. And I believe that I want you also to remember this. One, it is a covenant and it is not a contract. I know you might have heard this thing even before also, right? This is a covenant. And covenant is very different from contract. One thing that is beautiful about Eastern marriages is that in the Western churches and all, we see that the one of the very evident thing that we can see is that the rings that is exchanged between the husband and the wife. But in our marriages, the rings are not exchanged between the husband and the wife. The ring is put on the finger of the bride and the bridegroom by the priest. The priest is the representative of God, wherein it is said that, see, that this is a covenant that you are making before the Lord. It is not a contract that you can break any time, right? This is not a line, right, wherein you both are at the two ends, but there is a third person also involved, wherein it becomes the triangle. That is how we say with God, the bride and the bridegroom. It becomes a triangle, and it is a covenant, so it should not be broken. Never should it be broken. Also, the blessing of the crown, right? The blessing of the crown is also you are adorned when you come into this. You are adorned with the crown of righteousness and all joys of life, which is received because you have entered into this covenant. That is the second part of the marriage, the blessing of the crown that is there. So one thing that I would want you to remember: don't take marriage casually. If you're not serious about marriage, don't enter into marriage, right? But don't take marriage casually. This is a serious affair, and God considers this to be a covenant. And so never ever take it very casually. Second, this out of my own experience, I say, today we love things to be compatible. But I would say you are not made to be compatible to each other. You are made to complement each other. Compatible എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ that is, if I am using an Android phone, my Android phone is not at all compatible with the Apple phone, right? There might be different means that we can now do it. But that compatibility is not what God has intended, right? I believe you complement. If I get angry a lot, I would be given a wife who doesn't get angry a lot. If I talk a lot, I would be given a wife who doesn't talk a lot. If I am not so good in finances, my wife would be really good in finances, right? She will complement. We are not compatible. Compatible എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഞാൻ ദേഷ്യപ്പെടുമ്പോൾ അവളും ദേഷ്യപ്പെടണം. Just imagine what the scene would have been at our place, right? If I am bad at finances, she is also bad at finances, right? Complete bankruptcy that would be there in our house. But when we look at just look at your own family, your own father and mother, you can see this difference, right? My father likes not to put on the fan, but my mother wants the fan to be on, right? എല്ലായിടത്തും ഉണ്ട് വിഷ്ണു. It's simple things. But what I want you to understand is that the one you are expecting, he will never be compatible to you. He will never be compatible to you. So don't enter into marriage thinking that he'll be having all your likes, all your taste. No, it is not. In 99% or 95%, it is not going to happen. Some cases, rare species, അങ്ങനെ വല്ലതും ചിലപ്പോൾ സംഭവിച്ചു പോകാം. But other than that, it might not, right? So you have to complement each other, but you will complement. And that is where in some places where I am not so good, my wife is there to support me. In some places where she is not so good, I am there to support her. And that is what marriage is all about. You are not compatible to each other, but you complement each other. And the last thing, we we get. Recently, I went. It was during our youth fellowship Monday. I went for a marriage. And their friend Ashwin, right? So I was asked to give the sermon. So I shared these things, and I asked them a question during the marriage service. Ashwin, why are you getting married? And Krupa, why are you getting married? And they were looking at me, Acha, idwalla oru samayamano chodikkan these questions. Idu chodikkunna samayano. Both of them looking at me, Acha, you could have told yesterday you called me and you never told that you are going to ask this question. But I asked them, why are you getting happy? Why are you getting married? Appo oralu paranju, my parents are happy married, so I also want to be. One of the reason for us to get married is happiness. Sandosham venamalo in our life. One of the reason to get married is that. And many look out for happiness in marriage. And when we look out for happiness, we don't get it. It is at that time we decide this is not something that is meant for me, and we decide to break it. But I would say, you never look for happiness. But all throughout, when we look into the marriage service, it is not speaking about happiness, but it is speaking about holiness. What is it that God intends from you both? It is nothing else but holiness. There are many portions in our worship order, but I would just read one or two, right? The English translation of our sacrament of marriage. The first prayer itself, after the kauma, the first prayer itself, it says, it goes like this. O Lord, make us worthy of eternal joy in your presence. Make our joy and happiness begin and end in you. Let our bodies and souls rejoice in you. Dispel our sorrows by your mercy and increase our virtues by your grace. Everything that is there, it says it is in relationship with Jesus. And that happiness that we receive from the relationship with Jesus, I believe it is not the happiness that you might be looking in. There might be times, there have been times in my own life when she has not acted the way that I wanted to. There have been many times when I have not been the perfect husband that she very much wanted to. But that is not where happiness is intended. Our happiness is to make our life in such a way that God is glorified through our life. That is what I believe is the main purpose of marriage. More than the happiness, it is the holiness that God requires from this great sacrament of marriage. One last question and I'll stop. What do you think? നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അത് പറയാൻ ഇപ്പം കല്യാണം കഴിച്ചിട്ടില്ല, കെവിനോട് ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കാം. Kevin, what do you think? Do you think that marriages are made in heaven? Yes. Okay. Everyone. And if I ask you, your parents, if I think that Alana's mother, I can see a small part of Alana's amma's head, right? Ondo? Ado sister ano? Yeah, ondo. Okay. Right. If we ask whether marriages are made in heaven, most of us would say that marriages are made in heaven. But I would like to see it in a different way. I would say that marriages are not made in heaven, right? And when I say that marriages are not made in heaven, I have a reason for that. Why do I say that marriages are not made in heaven? I would just change it a little bit. I would say marriages are designed in heaven, but marriages are made on earth. Right? Because if marriages were made in heaven, not a single marriage would have been broken. Right? God designed Soumya, and for Soumya, God designed me. Right? But it is the duty of Jijo and it is the duty of Soumya to come together and to make this marriage beautiful. That duty depends upon me and Soumya. I have to make this marriage beautiful. Right? ഇത് ഇച്ചിരി നല്ല ഭാഷയിൽ മനസ്സിലാക്കണമെങ്കിൽ the things that we get. Designed in Japan, made in China. Right? And that is the reason that so it happens. Why? It is designed over there. Right? It was designed by someone with minds. Idu undaki vittovanu mind undu, but he didn't want it to last. So our things get, and that is what I would like to tell you all, that as you prepare for marriage, my dear brothers and sisters, this is one of the most important decisions that you make in your life. Start praying for it. I had a headmaster in the church that I was serving before. That headmaster, he would tell the little children from primary onwards, one of the prayer requests is pray for a right partner. ഞാൻ ഓർക്കുക വട്ടാണോ ഈ ചെറുപ്പം ഈ പ്രൈമറി പിള്ളേരെയൊക്കെ നല്ല ഒരു ഹസ്ബൻഡും വൈഫും കിട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കണം. But somewhere down the line, when I think, yes, this is very much necessary. This prayer, see, it is not. I don't know if you read the Peanuts comic strip. Our English teacher made us to read that Peanut. I don't know if you have come across, but in Times of India, second page, there was this comic strip. It's beautiful, and some are so wonderful. It gives in certain messages. So in that, Lucy and Linus, and so celebrating the grandmother's 80th or 50th wedding anniversary. And he's one of them said, our grandmother is so lucky that they are together for 50 years. And the answer that they receive from the grandfather is that it is not luck, it is skill. Shariyana, right? Skill aanu, luck alla, skill aanu. And skill matramalla, I would believe that it is grace of God also, right? When I see a few of my friends who have trouble in their marriage, many of the instances are very same as that of me and Soumya. Many instances. But somewhere down the line, if we are together, I believe more than the skill, it is only the grace of God. And so I would very humbly request you all that don't take the sacrament of marriage casually, but take it very seriously. For it is not as easy as you think, right? We all love to keep things in decorative terms, but I would from the reality of it, I would say it is not as easy as you think. But with God's presence, God's power, I'm sure that He will surely help us to have a beautiful and a wonderful family life. And as I close, one verse from the Bible. This mystery is profound. That is what Paul says in Ephesians chapter 5, 31 to 32. And marriage is a mystery. And I would personally say that we still love to explore that mystery. We have still not completely explored the mystery. The 10 years of married life that we had together, we are still exploring it. And I believe, and that is my prayer, that till the end of my life, I shouldn't stop exploring it. There should be something left more to explore, right? Ellam explore cheydu kayna, then she might be fed up of me, I might be fed up of her, right? But I just pray that this mystery still goes on. There is something more to this. There is something more to this. Is something that I would very much love and pray. And since you asked me to take this topic, I know I have exceeded our usual time. But since even now it is not complete, there are still many more things to be said. But I do believe in some way it was helpful for us as we look forward to enter into the sacrament in a year or 2 or 5 or 10. I hope that this stays in your mind. You are reminded of this and you take this sacrament of marriage seriously.